got Jan-Åge Fjortoft outside of Wembley. Jurgen Klinsmann joins us. Yeah, he does look cold.
He's denying he's cold, but he's jumping around trying to keep himself hot.
Yeah, Jurgen's just adjusting his air conditioning there. As we look ahead to the game, which of course sees Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. We discussed this yesterday. Some interesting quotes ahead of the match from Mats Hummels, of course, being such a big part of Borussia Dortmund getting to the final, was exceptional against PSG. Now, he's reflecting on games, for example, against Stuttgart early on in the season where they lost. He said, I was furious because I was of the opinion that Borussia Dortmund shouldn't play like that against any opponent in the world. I felt insulted in my honour to stand on the pitch in that kit. So submissive, so inferior in footballing terms. He didn't stop there. He said, I gave a lot of suggestions, really, to everyone involved, just to try and play better football again. I went to the coach's office and we talked with the clear opinion that we clearly have to improve in the forward play. It clearly got better after the winter break. That's also down to the co-trainers Nuri Sahin and Sven Bender, who came in. Let's warm Jan off and start with you, Jan. What would you make of these? The timing of these quotes seem completely inopportune.
Well, there are two different timing on it, I think. Timing before the Champions League is bad. But Champions League is one thing, is also the future of Mats Hummels. He is a leader. He tried to position himself in the Dortmund hierarchy. That's what it sounds like. And to be fair to Mats Hummels, yes, the timing not perfect, of course, but still he has some great points there because there are two different Dortmund teams. There will be a team behind me here on Saturday who will play a Champions League final, and then there is one team who has played in the Bundesliga who have been terrible. You have to tell them that. He's also saying that I want the team to come to Signal Iduna Park, their home ground, to fear the team. We haven't seen that anyway. So I think he's talking about the improvement of it. But I do think it's very critical to Terzic indirectly because, yes, they got Sven Bender, Sahin, both Dortmund legends. And this is a critic of the coach, absolutely.
Obviously, Mats had to swallow a lot of stuff this year. You know, he had now to swallow the most bitter pill, not being named into the European Championship roster by Germany, which hurts. It hurts, you know. So now maybe he just felt like he needs to kind of talk a little bit, you know, himself, off the shoulders. I don't know how to say that the right way, but. Obviously, he took this team into the Champions League final, this huge game against Real Madrid now. And I don't think that for the coaches or for the leaders of Borussia Dortmund, it's a big deal that he mentioned that now. Timing a bit wrong, but you want to have leaders that express themselves. You want to have leaders that speak up. He did it now. I think it doesn't matter at all with the game on Saturday night.
Just seems weird having to bring it up now. I mean,
especially as you're going to have to go to Wembley and defend. You can't expect there to be this attacking, free-flowing, swashbuckling Borussia Dortmund that he wanted because you go up against Real Madrid.
No, it's unnecessary, the timing. I mean, maybe afterwards, win or lose, you could throw something out there and say, well, didn't agree with that during the season. I didn't agree with that. But, you know, there's a big game at the weekend. The interesting thing is you know, Mats Hummels talking about, obviously, the side of the game that's not really his forte in terms of Borussia Dortmund attacking. But whenever we talk and have talked about Borussia Dortmund over the last, you know, certainly 2 or 3 years, but probably even longer, we've always talked about their defending or lack of being their biggest Achilles heel. And also, you know, from Mats Hummels' point of view, Mats Hummels had a very good season. Well, he's had a much better season this season. Actually, you know, he's sort of rejuvenated his tail end of his career because a year ago, 18 months ago, he looked as if he was gone. He looked as if he was absolutely gone. His legs just were not propelling. And for some reason, he's got that sort of second wind again and he's defended a lot better. They've defended certainly better, hence the reason they're in this final. Maybe not so much in the Bundesliga week in, week out. But it just seems strange that he's criticising the attacking element of the side when all along everybody else has looked at Dortmund and go, the one reason that they threw away the title last year on the final day, the one reason why they've not been able to go with Bayern toe-to-toe for all this success is they've not been strong enough defensively. So, yeah, I don't think the players will bother at all.
Right.
It's just whether Terzic just takes it a little bit prickly or not? I would imagine not before the cup final, but it's just a little unnecessary.
I just think you're going into a Champions League final against Real Madrid of all clubs. Dortmund have been underdogs almost all season long in the Champions League, given the group that they were in with PSG. You need everything to go right. To beat Real Madrid, everything has to go right, not just on the night, but in the build-up as well. And this certainly does not help in any way. And again, you have Mats Hummels, to Craig's point, who's looked good, certainly over the last 6 months in particular, but because you've had to kind of protect Hummels and Schlotterbeck and Süle and their lack of legs in the heart of the Borussia Dortmund defence. So you play a little bit defensive because your centre-backs don't have pace, you can't afford to press as high up the park as maybe you want to. And as a result of Hummels looking better because of that, there's this criticism. The other aspect of this is almost simultaneously, Carlo Ancelotti talking about how he's had to adjust his Real Madrid team and using an example against Shakhtar Donetsk of a few years ago when they dropped off and played defensive and the success that brought. So you have Hummels critical of being defensive, but Carlo Ancelotti saying sometimes that's exactly what you have to be. So again, just given the two teams, given their fortunes, it just feels so out of place.
I was always of the mindset when you're going into a really big weekend, a big game, be it for whatever, a title, a cup final like this is, a big derby, an internet, whatever it is, as a player, you tend to try and play everything down.
Yes.
You don't go into Scotland are playing England, or you go into an FA Cup final and say we're going to batter them, or we're going to do this, or we haven't done this, or the strikers need to perform. But you don't, to my experience, you don't say anything that's going to put you or your team under even more pressure. Which I suppose he won't feel the pressure, but all eyes now, particularly in the German media, I would imagine from these comments, are going to look at them. If they get stripped to pieces by this Real Madrid side, and I mean taken apart, and that may or may not happen, I don't know, then these words are going to come back right down his throat very quickly indeed.
Jürgen, it's interesting because Borussia Dortmund, given Bundesliga, of course, finished, May the 18th. Edin Terzic has had a lot of time to prepare for this game. If you're in his shoes, what are you focusing on? Are you running video of Real Madrid? Are you looking for vulnerability in that side? Are you focusing on yourself? How do you kind of mix it up? How do you keep them interested in this 2-week period leading up to kickoff?
Yeah, it's a long 2 weeks for Edin Terzic and Borussia Dortmund to prepare for the game. But I think they will utilize every hour they have, with the players to talk them into some kind of weaker points of Real Madrid, even if there are not many. But they will talk their players. I mean, Edin and his staff will talk the players strong. They will talk them big. They will talk them in a way that they have a lot of confidence going in there and going into this special game with a very high level of aggressiveness and determination and willingness to suffer through the game. And he takes it. He's a very, very positive personality, Edin Terzic. I really enjoyed him over the last couple of years from a distance, obviously. We met a couple of times and had some nice talks. But he knows it's his chance, it's the club's chance, it's everybody's chance, to make something happen that is extremely, extremely special. And they know they are the underdogs. They know that, but they love that role. Borussia Dortmund loves the role of being the underdog in such a specific moment. So if I think, most of the focus, most of his concentration is really on the mental side of the situation, not necessarily on the kind of the purely tactical side or theoretical side. I think he wants to make them feel good about themselves, strong, determined, and especially confident.
You mentioned that they are underdogs. Of course, the bookies agree with that. You take a look at ESPN Bet. Real Madrid, the absolute favourites to lift the trophy. Borussia Dortmund, meanwhile, coming in at 12-5, which leads us quite nicely to everyone's prediction. It's the last show for everyone, actually. Before the Champions League final, everyone is, that's false. Jack and Craig are going for Real. Jürgen, of course, he is going for Borussia Dortmund. And Jan Fjortoft,
sitting on the fence,
have jumped on the Bundesliga train, saying that Dortmund will win on penalties. You don't really believe that, do you, Jan?
I absolutely believe that. I was last week and he saw Manchester United beat Manchester City, and you tell me that Dortmund are worse than Manchester United going into this final.
Yeah, but Erling Haaland isn't playing for Real Madrid, so we don't have to worry about him not turning up again.
Oh.
Dan, I can't hear you, so I have to keep on talking. I can't hear you, Dan. But I saw the Europa League final, Atalanta being the outsider, winning against Leverkusen. I saw Olympiacos last night beating Fiorentina, being the outsider. So I do think Dortmund got a chance in this game. I was here when I lost 1-0 against Bayern Munich back in 2013, when Robin made that a winner there. But I do still think that Dortmund can have a chance here. They've been excellent in the Champions League. They have done well. They can go out here and enjoy themselves. They are here. If they lose, everybody will say they expect it. I do think that Dortmund got a chance there to take the trophy back to Germany.
Inevitably, comparisons are made to what happened last weekend at Wembley, with City being such hot favourites. I suppose the thing in that scenario, can Real Madrid play as badly as City did?
Yeah, I mean, they could. We've seen them. I mean, they won the La Liga this year at Canter. But we did see a lot. We saw a lot of the games this year, and they were not all spectacular.
No.
Well, there was a lot of them that were quite pedestrian.
1-0s, you know.
There was a lot of them that are quite pedestrian, and you're looking at ways. So I do agree with Jan, I mean, for sure. I mean, this is not a sort of write-off by any way, shape, or form. The bookies, of course, have it right. But then you look at, when you're looking at this Dortmund side, so how do they cope with this? Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, this scenario. We've seen them play as a sort of narrow front two. We've seen them play as a wide front two, and then particularly in the Girona game, where Ancelotti changed his tactics and he had both their heels on the touchline, with Bellingham coming through, playing almost as a false nine. You've got all these things to deal with. Do we sit somebody on Toni Kroos because everything goes through him? There's lots of factors that could factor in. I think the one thing for me is and I still believe it at this moment, the most dangerous player on the planet at the moment is Vinicius Junior. And if he gets free rein and plenty of the ball and gets left one-on-one with a lot of these Dortmund, if he gets isolated with this defence, that's a big problem to me. But if they can manage to sort of flood the areas that Real Madrid are in and get a lot of bodies around the ball and not allow themselves to be exposed, like Mats Hummels and like one or two others, I do think they have a fighting chance in this match. I'm still going for Real Madrid, but they have a fighting chance. It would not be as big a shock to me as it was Man United beating Manchester City, because Man United are a bad outfit. Dortmund, you don't get to the Champions League final if you're a bad outfit.
Jurgen, go on then. Why are Dortmund going to win it?
I think if they need to survive the first 30 minutes, not conceding a goal. I mean, as I said, with the forward power of Real Madrid there, it's going to be tough. But I believe that if they have the right level of aggressiveness, if they overpower them, with their aggressive play, with their one-against-one situations, getting in their face from the beginning on, making it uncomfortable, making it miserable for Real Madrid. Don't give them any space, any breathing chance. Then if you do that the first 20, 25 minutes and it's 0-0, then you will start to actually believe in your mission. You will start to believe that, whoa, you know what? We can do this here. Maybe we have only a chance out of a corner kick or from a free kick or whatever opportunity comes along then in 90 minutes or even 120 minutes. But it depends a lot on the first 10, 15 minutes how you take that game. And I think that the characters in that Dortmund side, they are characters, players, they are willed to hurt Real Madrid. I mean that hurting also on a physical level, not just kind of step away from the players or give them 3-4 yards, control the ball, have them turn around. They go at them. They will be physical. There will be lots of fouls and they will kind of try to disturb their rhythm, or not giving them any rhythm at all, not giving Toni Kroos any balls at all, and make it really, make it difficult. And that's why, I think it depends a lot on the first 20 to 30 minutes of the game, how it will end up.
It's fair, isn't it, Shank?
Yeah, listen, Borussia Dortmund, the one thing going in their favour, and which certainly has been the case for most of the Champions League, they're playing with house money. Nobody, a couple of notable exceptions aside, thinks that Dortmund are going to win this. So they can go and just play.
I love that Jan and Jurgen are a couple of exceptions.
A couple of notable exceptions. Notable. So they can go on and play with a freedom. They can be aggressive. They can take chances, and know that they won't be judged on that, because everybody's expecting Real Madrid to come out victors in this. I think the big difference between Real Madrid and Manchester City, as we saw last year, is, and you heard Kyle Walker talking about they going into this final without playing under no real pressure, and I wonder if that came back to haunt them. But Real Madrid, as we know and we continue to talk about, that club's history is built around this competition. Real don't go to a Champions League Cup final and play without pressure. There's an expectation around them. Carlo Ancelotti, again, has shown that he can make in-game adjustments according to the opponent, how they may play. I just feel that pound for pound, tool for tool, Real Madrid are the better outfit. They win it.